I'm Thomas Witherspoon of Asheville, North Carolina, and you're tuned to the International Radio Report, 30 minutes of news about radio on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal.
Welcome, everybody, to the International Radio Report for Sunday, December the 17th, 2023. We thank you for tuning in to our show. My name's Sheldon. Jill is with me as usual. We are located here in the city of Montreal at CKUT Radio, 90.3 FM in the city of Montreal. You can reach us by email, radioreport@yahoo.com. The program is live streaming and archived at ckut.ca. Our Facebook group, International Radio Report, has 947 members. We welcome Harvey in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan this week. Our YouTube channel, 913 subscribers. You can find our shows filed there, the current show and previous shows, if you'd like to go back and listen to some of them. And our X account at IRRCKUT. You can follow us there. We have 36 followers right now. So those are all the ways to catch our program and to communicate with us here at the International Radio Report. So we'll get going with today's show. As promised, we do have some information about some upcoming special holiday programming, as we're just a week or so away from Christmas. We'll start off things with an annual report and listing that our friend Alan Roe in Teddington in the UK puts together. It's the holiday programs on shortwave, and version 1 of that document is now available. Alan writes, I have again been collating a list of programming on shortwave over the forthcoming holiday period. It actually started on Saturday, December the 16th, and it runs right through till Monday, January the 1st. The list includes seasonal and non-seasonal programming. Regular weekly music programs where no special advanced program information has been provided are not generally included in this list, but please refer to my music on shortwave list if that's the type of thing you're looking for. The first edition of this compilation is now available online, downloadable, and we'll put a link up for you to get to the document. It's a huge document. He goes on to say this list will be updated if and when more information becomes available, and you are encouraged to check back regularly. I hope that you find it of interest. As always, I appreciate any updates and corrections. So this is really an extensive list of holiday programming. I took a look at it yesterday. It is 44 pages long, an incredible piece of information. It has program information. It has the station name, the times, the frequencies when you can tune in. This comes out, as I said, every year. It's really impressive, and we thank Alan for all the time and effort he puts into putting this together for the holidays. And as he mentioned in his email, he does continue with his music on shortwave list as well. So they're two great resources, and if you're looking for special holiday programming, this is probably the quickest and easiest way to get to all of it, and amazing amount of detail in it. I was taking a look at it, and it's just must take an awfully long time to get this put together. So thanks again to Alan for that.
So we have a couple of special broadcasts coming up. One is the Alexanderson SAQ Grimeton annual Christmas Eve broadcast. So this is via John Hode, DBXC IO Group mail list, and Mike Terry, World of Radio IO Group. On Christmas Eve morning, Sunday, December the 24th, 2023, SAQ Grimeton is scheduled to be on the air to send out the traditional Christmas message to the whole world using the 200 kilowatt Alexanderson alternator from 1924 on a very, very low frequency of 17.2 kilohertz. And this is going to be sent in CW or Morse code. Program and transmission schedule at 07 hours UTC. The transmitter hall at World Heritage Grimeton is open for visitors. At 7:25 UT, there's a live stream on YouTube that will begin. 7:30, startup and tuning of the Alexanderson alternator SAQ. And at 08 UTC, transmission of a message from SAQ. You can check that out at their website, alexander.n.se. /EN/. 17.2 kilohertz. Not a lot of radios go down there. It's also going to be a tough one to receive if you're far away, but you can also use maybe some online SDRs that are closer. And of course, check out their YouTube channel, because they also have past videos of the other transmissions they made in the past. It's always quite amazing to watch, especially thinking that it's a 1924 transmitter.
The fact that it takes half an hour practically to warm it up. They start the startup and the tuning of the transmitter at 0730. And then finally the transmission goes out at 0800. The video is fun to watch. The YouTube, you see them going through the whole process of warming up the machine, and then an operator sending out the message. It's quite slow CW, so you can either use a decoder if you don't know CW, or it is, even if you're not really fast at CW, I think you could probably copy it. It is fairly lengthy message though, so anyways, give it a chance. If you're in an area where you could pick that frequency up, certainly give it a try. But otherwise, online SDR is probably the way to go, and also to watch it on YouTube.
The other special transmission coming up is NDR Gruss on board, or Greetings on Board, on December 24th from 18 to 21 hours UTC. This is via HFCC and Manuel Mendez in the World of Radio IO group and mailing list, and NDR. Each year, Christmas messages for seafarers all over the world are transmitted using shortwave. Families and friends continue to send Christmas messages and wish them a happy holiday to their loved ones at sea who cannot be home for Christmas. This year, Greetings on Board celebrates its 70th anniversary. So part 1 was recorded at the Culture Spiker in Leer on December 10th with hosts Britta von Luck and Andreas Kunt. The Bingung Shanty Choir will perform Christmas and maritime songs. Part 2 recorded at the Hamburg Siemens Mission Doug Dalben on December 17th with hosts Birgit Langhammer and Ok Brandiksen. The Swedish-South African folk pop duo Fjoril will provide musical highlights. Frequencies: 6030 kHz via Issoudun, France, 6080 via Tashkent, Uzbekistan, 9635 via Nauen, Germany, 11650 via Issoudun, France, 13725 via Nauen, Germany, and a relay from WRMI Okeechobee, Florida on 15770 kHz. So that's from 18 to 21 hours UTC. Most of all of that will be in the German language, but there's a little bit of English mixed in, I noticed from time to time. So do check it out. It's a fun little thing to do on December 24th if you have the time.
Yeah, especially during that time of day, 1800 to 2100. And NDR, we mentioned, is a domestic radio network in Germany. And so they do run it domestically and then put it out onto shortwave, particularly for the seamen out on the waters around the world. So pretty neat thing. I've listened to it in the past. I think you have too.
Yeah.
It's always an interesting broadcast to listen to.
So what's happening with our sun? Well, our sun is very, very active. It kind of woke up in a big way this week. One in particular, AR3514, which gave us the biggest solar flare of this solar cycle, an X2.8. And I was actually listening to shortwave when it happened, and everything disappeared for maybe half an hour to an hour before coming back. So it gives you an idea of the effect of these solar flares when they happen. So that also means that there could be some geomagnetic storming that could happen because of this. So it will be something to check out, because they have been sending out some coronal mass ejections. And so the solar flux is at 155, the sunspot number 126. Conditions going to be up and down with what's happening now, and maybe more flaring to come in a few days. So this is going to be up and down conditions to check out. If you want to witness all of this, you got to turn on a radio and listen.
I'm Skip Airy, N2EI of Southern New Jersey. If you're interested in radio, AM, FM, shortwave, amateur radio, pirate broadcasting, and more, you won't want to miss the International Radio Report every Sunday morning at 10:30 on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal and online at ckut.ca.
As we're coming to the end of the year, we start to see summaries of things that happened over the year. We see in music top 10 lists or top 100 song lists and top movies of the year. Well, we've got a radio-related one, and it comes to us via Radio Inc. Throughout the year, we reported on a number of the Edison Research projects that were done on analyzing radio audiences, what people are listening to, what equipment they're using to listen, etc. So we have a summary from them. The headline is Edison Research recaps the top radio findings of 2023. As 2023 draws to a close, Edison Research is reflecting on the year's most significant research findings. Via their numerous studies and insights on radio, podcasting, distribution, and digital, here are some of what Edison found most significant. Edison Research Q2 2023 share of ear data unveiled a pivotal movement in audio consumption history in the United States. On-demand audio content surpassed linear audio for the first time. 50.3% of daily audio consumption among those aged 13 and older was found to come from on-demand platforms, slightly edging out the 49.7% from linear platforms like over-the-air radio, satellite radio, and streaming radio services. Edison's Audio in Evolution, sponsored by Amazon Ads, found over half of audio listening now happens at home, primarily through connected devices. Since 2017, there has been a 414% increase in smart speaker ownership, leading to a 20% higher likelihood of audio streaming among owners. These individuals listen to audio content for nearly 5 hours daily. That's 12% more than those without smart speakers. Consequently, home has become the primary location for audio engagement, accounting for 58% of all listening, a trend that has stabilized post-pandemic. This enduring shift towards home-based listening aligns with the growing trend of listening to radio stations' digital streams on internet-connected smart TVs, indicating a significant change in how and where people consume audio content. Edison Research's Share of Ears survey for Q2 2023 highlighted the enduring strength of AM/FM radio amidst the evolving radio and audio landscape, influenced by the rise of smartphones and digital devices. 63% of Americans aged 13 and older still engage with AM/FM radio content daily. The survey further revealed that 84% of daily listeners use traditional radio sets for over-the-air content. In contrast, only 5% rely exclusively on digital devices like phones, computers, and smart speakers for online streams of AM/FM stations. Interestingly, about 7% of all respondents, 11% of daily listeners, use both over-the-air and streaming methods, with a notable portion of daily listeners, 1 in 6, incorporating digital devices into their listening habits, signifying the convergence of traditional and digital platforms in media consumption. And finally, Edison and NPR's Spoken Word Audio Report revealed a notable surge in spoken word audio's popularity, with its audience share growing by 55% over the last 9 years. The report indicates that 48% of respondents now engage with spoken word content, up from 39% in 2014-2015. This amounts to an audience of 135 million, a 4 million increase from the previous year. Additionally, the average daily listening time at home has risen to 41 minutes in 2023, and for the first time, mobile devices have overtaken traditional platforms as the primary medium for spoken word audio, particularly at home. So some common themes going through there. Smart speakers making a big surge, but encouraging to see that AM/FM radio is hanging in there, and also through conventional devices, basically a radio.
I've got a Google Assistant here, and I use it quite a lot. It's in the kitchen where we used to have our good old kitchen radio before. Well, now it's a kitchen assistant. But it's interesting because I noticed several things also by listening to the radio and interacting with some people in a show that I listened to, because they put pictures of themselves, and it kind of jumped at me that for example, the show that I listened to for the 80s show on a Friday night, I noticed a lot of people are streaming it on devices or on their TVs, which is surprising. I would not have thought that there were so many people doing it that way rather than traditional radio. I know that assistants are extremely popular. A lot of people have them, but it all depends. And some of the radios, like I have the Sangean Wi-Fi radio, that one has a nice feature that a lot of these radios have, which is click the local radio station list, and it just brings up the local stations in your town. So it makes it easy to find them also. So I would guess that maybe as time goes by, a lot more people will want to use these instead of a traditional radio. And I have to say, there's an advantage that a lot of people might also find. Most of the radios that you find in stores today have rather crappy either performance or audio. But most of these devices that come out actually have amazing audio. It sounds better. Everything sounds good. No static. There's advantages that I think people are finding interesting in those streaming devices too.
I think by having the local stations pop up in a list like that, it might pique some curiosity with some people that if they see all these stations, like if conventional radio, most people put it on one station, listen to that station, it's their favorite station. How many of them actually start tuning around to see what else is out there? Maybe if visually they're seeing a list of other stations pop up, it might just be curiosity. Oh, what's that? Let's go take a listen there. So maybe, it's kind of a strange way to get people doing what we've always done, tune around the radio and listen to all different kinds of stations. Maybe some of these people that have been locked onto one radio station might just get tempted to go see what else is this device providing for them.
Look at that list, because I clicked on it to see what exactly you're going to give me as a list. The first thing I noticed is quite a few stations, because they get your stations from your city, but also all around your city. There's smaller community radio stations, stuff like that, but they're all in there. So you actually have a list of things to listen to that is bigger than what you would get just tuning the FM band. Definitely, if you're curious, there's a lot of things in there that you're like, oh, what's that? I never heard that station before. What frequency are they using? You don't know, but it's all there in listings, and you can just click on it and listen, to what the content is all about.
Yep, I think that might be beneficial to some radio stations that, don't get a lot of mention. You don't see advertising for them on television or things like that. And like you said, even outside of your immediate listening area or weak stations that you might not have picked up on your own. So, there could be some benefit to that. But definitely these statistics numbers are encouraging that, at least people are listening. It doesn't surprise me that talk radio is interesting to people. Yeah. People like to hear other people talking about different things. So certainly in the United States, talk is all over the place. Interesting numbers throughout the year, though. We'll keep an eye out as we head into 2024 and see how things change.
So in the next story, there's radio stations jammed and social media blocked in Guinea. This is via Radio Info Africa. In Guinea, several independent radio stations are being jammed and social media cannot be accessed without a VPN, says Reporters Without Borders. According to the non-governmental organization working to promote free speech, IFEX, RSF is calling on the authorities to shed light on these serious media freedom violations and do what is needed to end them. You hear what sounds like wind or sometimes music dedicated to the Army, glorifying national pride, a listener was quoted saying. The programs of news radio stations FIM FM have been jammed since the evening of the November 24th. It has been the same with the news and entertainment radio stations Joma FM since 27 November. Espace FM since 29 November, and Evasion since 30th November. The platforms of Meta, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook, Instagram, and ByteDance, TikTok, have been blocked in Guinea since November 24th and can now only be accessed by means of a VPN. The authorities have so far said nothing about this. RSF has tried to contact government spokesman Ousmane Gawal Diallo, who is also Minister of Telecommunications, but he was not responded to messages. Speaking on conditions of anonymity, a Guinean journalist deplored the government's deaf ear and tight lips in response to a situation that is having a dangerous impact on freedom of expression. The jamming of independent radio stations and inaccessibility of social media are reminders of how fragile press freedom is in Guinea. The public is being denied its right of access to diverse news and information. Jamming radios looks alarmingly like an act of sabotage designed to silence them and send an extremely worrying signal. The authorities must say something and must do whatever is needed to remedy this situation as quickly as possible, said Sadibou Marong, director of RSF's Sub-Saharan Africa Bureau. Abubakar Kamara, who heads the Guinean Union of Free Radio and TV Stations, told RSF that these radio frequencies have no internal technical problems and that he therefore believes that they are being deliberately jammed. We have carried out checks, he said. If you shift the frequency, the signal gets through, you can receive the radio station. So it's the radio frequency itself that is being targeted. To jam a frequency, he said you just need to have transmitters of greater capacity than those possessed by the radio station, set them onto the desired frequency, and transmit what you want in their stead. Camara thinks the Post and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, Guinea's telecommunications regulator, has such equipment and that it may be the cause of this interference. FIM FM director Talibe Barry agrees. We are convinced that the ARPT's silence is a sign of guilt. When questioned on November 27th, Guinea's High Authority of Communications said it had no additional information and that it would investigate. The jamming of FIM FM and Joma FM began a few days after they covered the dismissal and arrest of Public Health Minister Mamadou Fete Diallo for corruption and embezzling public funds. The jamming of Espace FM and Evasion began after they covered the jamming of other two radio stations. So this is interesting. Instead, like usually in a country like that, they find a way to shut you down. In this case, they don't shut you down. They just put powerful transmitters to make sure your signal's not getting anywhere.
Yeah, really interesting. We don't hear much about the country of Guinea. But it seems like many African countries, this is a common practice. Yep. We've had stories like this from many parts of Africa and other parts of the world as well, though. It's the way to cut off the people. Cut out the radio. It proves that people are listening to the radio. And when they're saying things you don't want them to hear, they find ways to try to stop it. Interesting, they're maybe not as technically savvy as they think, though, that, as the gentleman says, they're jamming right on the frequency. If you slightly tune off a little bit, you can maybe still hear the radio station transmitting underneath. So, it's a common practice and not surprising, I guess, but It always seems to tie into something controversial going on with the powers that be that don't like what's coming out of the radio, and they don't want the population at large to hear about it.
Yeah, it's interesting when they mention that you sometimes can hear the wind. It's as if, yeah, they just transmit the open microphones there. It's like,
yeah, it's unfortunate because it does cut off, and they've gone steps beyond too. It's not only the radio that's being cut out, but the online services that may, there's some online services available in some of these countries, but it may not be available to everybody all of the time. So the radio is still a very important vehicle for them to get information. If they've got transmitters that they can just turn on and leave them there, that may go on for some time.
Yeah, at least those that have a little bit of technical know-how can use these VPNs to listen to the same content on their phones. As long as the internet continues working, that's another problem. So we have upcoming ham radio contests.
It looks like a quiet weekend coming up, obviously with the holidays coming up. Not a lot of ham radio activity going on, but two events. The NTC QSO Party, 1900 to 2000 Zulu, December 21st. That's organized by the Netherlands Telegraphy Club. The purpose of our QSO Party is to stimulate activity and practice CW in and around the Netherlands and have a relaxed QSO. Any type of mechanical or electronic keying is allowed. Please try to keep your speed below 25 words per minute to give everyone a chance to participate. And if you're putting out a CQ call, they're saying to please call CQ NTC to participate. Three frequency ranges, 3550 to 3560, 7030 to 7040, and 14050 to 14060, and they specify no other bands permitted for this event. The mode is CW.
And there's the RAEM contest, 000 Zulu to 1159 Zulu, December 23rd, organized by the Union of Radio Amateurs of Russia. Bands 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters, and it's Morse code, CW only.
So tune into your radios throughout the week and coming up through next weekend. We'll be here on the 24th of December. We're not sure what we'll have for you, but keep a watch on our Facebook group, and we'll post messages of whether there's anything special going on Christmas Eve with us. Otherwise, we'll be here with our regular show. So just check that out, and we do wish everybody a good holiday season. We will talk to you again on the 24th as we get ready for Christmas. But it's always a good, fun time to tune around, listen to the radio. Lots of special programs. We'll put a link up to Alan Roe's shortwave list of holiday programming. I think you'll find some interesting things there to take a listen to.
If you want to have a little interesting listen, if you live within the coverage of that net, there's the Santa Claus net on 3916 kilohertz lower sideband, which is every night at 7:15 p.m. Central Time. So that could be an interesting listen for some Christmas joy.
And December 24th, as I said, we'll be on the air, but one thing you can start checking as UTC December 24th, NORAD has an annual event online where they follow the progress of Santa and his reindeer and the sleigh traveling around the world. If you've never checked it out, it's a lot of fun. Lots of domestic radio stations pick up these feeds from NORAD that they put out maybe once an hour or so throughout the Christmas Eve evening. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next week, but tell you exactly where to go look for it. Always a fun event. If you've got kids and grandkids, tell them about it. Let them check it out. Always a lot of fun.
And we are out of time.
Thank you very much for tuning in to the International Radio Report. We'll be back with you next Sunday, same time, same station. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week leading up to the holidays. Talk to you on December the 24th.
Bye-bye.
joy and peace. Oh, I wish I had a river I could ski